Andy, the lads are back in pre-season training. What did the first couple of weeks look like?
The first few days is about understanding where they are fitness-wise, and fitness is a broad term. So we try and get as much information gathered as possible. Obviously, it's tough times with COVID, so we have to make sure we're adhering to the guidelines. But compared to last season, when we were limited to the data collection we could do, this pre-season we'll go back to doing more data collection done in the gym, which we did Friday. Get back to comb over the data over the weekend and then do our pitch-based testing, which we did today. Doubles up from pitch-based testing, but it's not easy, so we do get them fit doing it as well. So the first sort of few days were get the reintroduction to get the body moving, get them just basic principles of football, pass and move, very simple in terms of the football, technical, tactical, but then the volume and more aerobic based stuff will be there from day one, and then we'll just get the benchmarks from where they're at aerobically, and then it'll start filtering into sort of the end of the week where we'll start bringing the areas in and start making the intensity go a little bit higher.
Why is pre-season training so important to the preparation for the season ahead?
So, particularly with last season, when we had a lot of games, it was sandwiched due to COVID. That was no one's fault in their own, but we had a sandwiched, shoehorned season with the amount of games that we had to fit in. But also, ever since I've been at Tranmere, this is my 5th pre-season now, so since I've been at Tranmere, we always have some form of a cup run, whether it be FA Cup, Checker Trade, or the new Carabao Cup. We always have a cup run, so we as Tranmere have a lot of games to play, which is a great thing, which is good. So we have to make sure that the 6 weeks and the work that we get into the lads, it has to cover all bases, but getting ready for the demands of the season. And when you have a lot of games, you can't really rely on just 11 players. You need a squad that are going to step in when the time's right. COVID is still there, unfortunately, so we have to be aware that at any given time we may lose a player, and we need to have backups to rely on. Last season it was tough at times, but we had a squad that we could dip into. That's why we unfortunately fell shy of our ultimate hurdle, but we managed to get to quite the latter stages of the league and the Papa John's and the Carling Cup, or the Carabao Cup. So we tend to, do well and pull through, but the pre-season is the bulk and the foundation that lays through to do the work for the rest of the season.
Do players follow individual plans, or at this moment in time is it more of a collective thing?
Well, in the off-season, so the Tranmere players who were Tranmere players, they get given quite a stringent off-season programme. This makes sure that when they come back, it doesn't hit them too hard on the first day, without going into too much depth. If anyone who doesn't do exercise for a long period of time and they get hit with a really tough training session, they carry it into the next day, and then you can't work them as hard the next day, and you get the knock-on effect. So Tranmere players from our side get a stringent off-season programme. However, the ones who've come in, we get them to dovetail into that programme as quick as we can, and we will hopefully, bar one or two who are just catching up to speed to a return to play, we will have them all in a position now where they can get going together. There will be some modifications done for certain gym programs. Some people might need things tailoring a little bit to their specific needs, but as a group and as a collective, the fit, the healthy, the robust, so they can attack it together. But as pre-season evolves, there will be times where we have to pull people out and tailor things accordingly, but ultimately our end game is to be ready for the first game of the season for Walsall. So we have 6 weeks to get them all there, so if we have to tweak, change, modify things, if we're ready for Walsall, we'll be there standing there front and centre, ready to take them on.
You've just said this is your 5th pre-season at Tranmere. Do you stick to a similar routine every year, or do you change it up?
The bulk of it is to get them fit. That's the one thing that we'll never negotiate on. As certain evidence comes out, we try to be sort of practice on an evidence-based practice point of view. So as new literature comes out, we'll maybe chop and change a few things. As technology changes, bleep test, yo-yo test as staple diets of pre-season. However, we have GPS, so rather than timed and pen and paper, we can actually use some of the science and say how far, how fast, how frequently, using modern technology. And that's gone through right the way through to the in-house testing. So we've got watt bikes, and we can measure power output and average power, and other forms of technology. So that kind of helps us tailor what we're measuring and how we're going to approach through pre-season. Fortunate enough, I think Mickey's back, the gaffer's back, so I think this is my 8th pre-season with Mickey. So over a period of time, we've kind of evolved what we know works, what we know doesn't work, what we want to ultimately get. So it tends to look fairly similar to last season. However, we will change a few things, but if you were to say this to me, my first season at Tranmere, it would look probably a lot different.